Good morning. Today is Saturday. We are in Vermont. We are not in the Five Bogs. We are a little bit northeast of there and heading in a southeasterly direction. It is day 2 of normal skies again after we had the charming atomic haze during the week, thanks to our friends in Nova Scotia. Fix that shit. I have a bunch of stuff to actually cover today, and that'll be part of it. But let's get going. We are heading into an area that I usually associate with bird hunting, but today we're going to do a squatching kind of look. And we'll see what we find. The day is still kind of overcast, but the air quality, there's an app for the government that came out. And regardless of your feelings of the feds, it measures air quality, and the AQI was in the good range. So the haze seems to be breaking up faster than expected, at least for now. Whether this is going to be a ongoing bit of fun for the rest of the summer, we hope not. But after seeing pictures of New York City during the week, damn. That said, let's hit it, let's get moving, let's see what we find. Bye. Okay, we're back, and we are out. Let me center the, yeah, okay. We're out in this is an area that I have previously quail hunted and other things and hiked. We're the third meadow in out of, I want to say, 5. And the bugs, I was going to say the bugs weren't that bad, but they actually are kind of pesky now that I think about it. And I think, if I remember correctly, the thinking place is through that. And you cut to the right and then kind of go up at a 45. So yeah, first thing and foremost thing, the weekend was tentative given the weather conditions and the fact that the Canadian fires were like, we had air quality index readings that were not good. So anything north of 50, if you're familiar with the app, is not ideal. You move from good to moderate, which means if you have allergies and the like, you're probably not going to have a great day out there. If you move towards the orange, you're unhealthy for sensitive groups. If you move into red, where we were on Tuesday, you're effectively, if you don't want to have crappy breathing, stay the fuck indoors. Once you get into purple, like the purple and the maroon color, to be perfectly blunt, you're not in for a good day at all. This is not where I thought it was. But there's a meadow over there, so I think in my head I was a meadow ahead of myself. And if I am wrong, you can see here from there and there from here from there, because if you go and zoom in, if the damn thing will play nice, you can see the hole in the trees right there. And if you can see one from the other, then you're not lost. You can see your way back. You kind of backtrack the way you came. So Tuesday, New York City looked like a dystopian post-apocalyptic landscape, and that's what purple looks like. I think their AQI was like 440, which means if you go outside, you're going to fucking die. If you're out there too long, you're basically sucking in, you're basically French kissing a fucking exhaust pipe to a car, which is ironically not good for you. So hopefully we're done with that, but they kind of laugh, you know, because the news people the weather people love to fearmonger, because summer's kind of their quiet time, minus the odd hurricane or something. They're going to fearmonger. That is their nature. You know, it's like skeeter watch, because there are mosquitoes outside. Well, yeah, it's summer, no shit. But Wednesday rather, it was over Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And if you're in Harrisburg, you have my sympathies, because the big red the big maroon red dot, which is the worst of the worst, where they don't even say unhealthy, they just come out and say straight up hazardous. You were the epicenter of that big maroon dot. So you guys were having a really bad day. So weather brings to mind, number one, the fucking need for the damn COVID masks are back, if that's going to be our future, and I'm not good with that. Secondly, like I said, this was almost tentative because I'm not going to be out here, even up in southern Vermont. On Tuesday, Wednesday, you're up in the upper level of the orange zone, moving into the red. And just to make the point, you can see that through the trees. So you kind of bopping in between what I call interzones, which are, you have the meadows that are kind of co-joined, and you get to where I'm wondering if there's like an allergen in the air, if there's leftover particulates, which is the word for the shit that you don't want to breathe in. Anyway, other shit going on. Actual Bigfoot related shit. So, probably much to the chagrin of the management of the Bigfoot forums, I am back among you. And I know that previous encounters have been kind of like, I don't really care if I'm in there or not, but I was kind of dismayed by the fact, just when I think it's common sense that like certain old arguments in Bigfooting are done, you end up with the resurgence of the Jacobs bear. Notice I call it a bear, because that's what the fuck it is. And the Ketchum study, which there are a couple of die-in-the-wool fanboys who just refuse to accept the fact that she's full of shit, but you can't cure stupid. And that's just such an obvious thing, I'm not even going to be nice. There's no reason to be nice about it. If you believe in that, or the standing Muppets and things of this nature, you are the reason why people in the mainstream do not take this seriously. Because you're making the case for dumb people out there will believe fucking anything. And this is the meadow I thought I was at before, by the way. And that is why people like me get frustrated with the never-ending recycling of bullshit, which refuses to go away when it really needs to. You're not going to move forward. Who was the other jackass out there? There was a guy making a case for the Minnesota Iceman. And they cling to, I'm kind of, finger quotes given, data that they think makes their point. Most recently, big old moose track, there's I trip over that shrub. Hillifier is a guy from the BFF, and he's clinging to the Ketchum study. And he keeps beating the war drum that is this lovely little graph that somebody made in PowerPoint or something that points to, is that where that other meadow is? Yep. Points to a PowerPoint that has all this alleged DNA data on it that says unknown human hybrid, or something like that, or humanoid hybrid. And the thing about Ketchum is, notice I'm not saying Dr. Ketchum, she's a fucking veterinarian. There is a massive difference between a veterinarian and a friggin' geneticist. Once upon a time, I was working IT at Pfizer, where you have like actual geneticists, people of that level of intellect, like PhD level people, and they discover like new molecules and things. Because this one day, this mad Russian geneticist guy came running up and he was all excited about his new discovery, and he's talking to me about this using terms that I have to admit, it was incredibly flattering that he thought I had the slightest friggin' idea what he was talking about. Because it was all terminology that only somebody in that discipline is going to know. And get off me. Needless to say, geneticist people and like-minded scientists have a language all their own, much like IT people do. And so for somebody to equate a veterinarian with somebody of that level of intellect is frankly an insult to the profession of geneticists. And you have a bunch of other intellectually challenged people that, you know, they're afraid of science. Well, without science genius, you wouldn't have your car that you drive to work in. You wouldn't have your high-tech fucking clothes you wear to work. All those fibers and materials wouldn't exist. You wouldn't have your electric toothbrush, etc., 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 etc. So as much as you want to go back to the dark ages, some of us don't want to. So no, we will not be doing that. And I dare say that any one of you that had to actually live in those conditions for a couple of weeks, by week number 3, you're going to be crying for your mommy because you can't handle it. You heard me. So the Bigfoot forums needs, frankly, an intellectual enema. There's one guy in there, and I guess he's in charge now, which I guess is a positive development, who goes by Norseman, who actually has some sense. And he is quick to point out the nonsensical, and people get really pissy with him. It's actually very entertaining to watch. The thing is, I got effectively banned and called a troll for saying the same exact things he was. Whereas he gets lauded for it. And that is my real issue with the Bigfoot forums. It is the living epitome of Bigfooting being a popularity contest as far as the community goes. Suddenly you're an expert and godlike if you have 18 gazillion fucking posts on a forum somewhere. As opposed to somebody who, oh, I don't know, goes out to places like this. And we're now probably a good mile into a national forest, and I walked in from an area that is from the main highway, probably 10 miles in. So, yeah, you want to find Biggie, you don't find him. He would have walked out and shook our hand by now if he really was interested. You got to go looking for him. And I'm going to take a segment break, if only because I find myself in the middle of like going into rant mode, and I really don't want to do that. I want to keep this on the science versus, bullpucky level, not like individual idiots. But anyway, I'm going to take a segment break. I will be back shortly, and we will continue. And we're back. Basically, I didn't want you to necessarily watch me answer nature's call. So, without going into detail, do I ever do my business in the woods? Yes. And you're welcome. On a completely un-Bigfoot related notion, though, the scary thing is the leftovers that weren't there for 10 seconds, and the flies found it like immediately. And if I listen very carefully over the wind and I look and listen backwards, you can literally hear them. That's how many are there now. They come out of the woodwork, quite literally. So, getting back to the Bigfoot forums. The unfortunate thing about them, they are the very epitome of the notion of the community being a popularity contest. Because in the past I have been labeled a troll and banned from the forum, yet one of the admins that is running the place currently says literally almost word for word the same stuff. And it's okay for one, but for another, you're a dirty, stinking troll and you have to get out of here. Which, I'm sorry, that's just funny to me, because you know what I mean? No hypocrisy there at all. Anyway, let's have a look at my little thinking place here. Last year I had given this place a name, and you got to admit, this is a cool scene right here. Maybe that's a better angle. You can see all the little sticks in here. It's just nice to know there are places like this in the middle of friggin' nowhere where you can come to and you know you're going to be here by yourself. Minus maybe the odd moose, bear, or Bigfoot. Although he has yet to grace me with his presence here. The only thing I see gracing me with that presence is that fucking pollywog right there. I don't know if you can see him, but he's right there. So. Come to think of it, the last time I did pond fishing, I basically succeeded in doing nothing but bothering the frog population when I cast by them. You'd see like 20 frogs jump up and let me know their displeasure that they were being disturbed. Yeah, I find it funny though, because this one guy, Norseman, he has sense, don't get me wrong, but he's posting the same line of material that I am. You know, in some cases almost word for word, and he's taking issue with the same people, and they get all pissy with him, and they get all pissy with me, and I'm talking about the PowerPoint worshipper of, you know, humanoid hybrid alleged DNA from a veterinarian who doesn't know shit. And, it's okay for him, but for another person, that person's a troll, and it's just like, that to me is funny. Because it just goes to show how it's one more reason why people don't take the subject seriously. Another subject that came up during the last 2 weeks, I guess, if we're being more realistic in the time frame, is and I'm going to use the word here because you're taking a lot of faith in certain news sources. When you get to the internet, if you take news verbatim, stop it. But the guy has made the claim that he's been allowed by the DOD, Department of Defense, to say that we have recovered exotic vehicles of non-human origin. What he's fucking saying is we have been retrieving for decades UFOs. We have flying saucers and the underlying technology in our possession, and occasionally we have the odd dead pilot. So he's saying, yeah, we have alien bodies too. He is effectively saying that the government is saying that yes, aliens are very fucking real. We are not alone in the universe, and we have had skirmishes with them and their stuff, not always to our benefit. And of course, he has no photos and he has no physical evidence because the government put a hard kibosh on that. The Russian government has, on more than one occasion, made similar claims. So, where does that leave us? Number one, I think it's absolutely naive to think that we are alone in the universe when we have on Earth, when you allow for a different interpretation of intelligence, you could lend intelligence at least to a primitive level to humans, primates, crows, dolphins, whales, well, hell, parrots, hive-related insects if you're allowing for a different model of intelligence, octopi and squid. So here is an argument for intelligent life that follows a whole crap load of diversity in what it looks like and acts like. Some of it is social, some of it is not so much. And so for us to be alone, bullshit. Even if you're only allowing for intelligent life on a carbon-based, human-looking model, It's just such a big place with so many different things out there. I don't buy that. But then you have to go into, well, maybe there's life that doesn't follow our model. You have life developing on a planet with a different atmosphere. You're going to have different building blocks of life, per se. And what the hell is that going to look like? You could have gaseous life. You could have energy-based life. Anybody who's a die-hard Trekkie or Star Wars person is going to allow for the fact that there's any one of a number of different ways that life could evolve. And while I'm saying that, fuck the Ewoks, they always bugged me. And I probably will get hateful comments because people love the Ewoks, whatever. So, enough of the rant. Yeah, this guy's making the claim. But at the same time, you have, last year, formed by the Navy, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, which is an actual government agency that is the new Project Blue Book, which goes out and investigates freaking UFO stuff. The government is actually doing that. They're actually taking a hard, serious look at stuff that Navy pilots are claiming that they have seen while flying that don't add up to aircraft with abilities that we know it given our understanding of the laws of physics. Which lends to the thought that the government is not just sitting there laughing at people. They actually take this shit seriously. And that these bubble-headed Martians are possibly a threat to national security, although anytime you run into an alien invasion movie, the premise for the alien invasion loses its logic very quickly. So let's break it down. Independence Day had aliens coming here to just like rape the planet for its resources. But why would you do that when you have a bazillion space rocks in the near vicinity of Earth with God knows how many different elements in there that you can mine without hairless monkeys shooting at you with nuclear weapons? It just doesn't make sense. If you were coming here to eat us, as in War of the Worlds, the fact is, okay, we land on an alien planet, we find alien slime creatures, the first thing we're not going to think is, let's chow down. You don't know what they're making of. You don't know what germs they're carrying. They came here for the water. No, if you look out there and you learn a little bit about space stuff, apparently water isn't that unique. It's all over the damn place. So you can find it on the moon. You can find it on Mars. You can find it in freaking asteroids. You got water all over the goddamn place, even if you have to distill it a little bit. If you're flying around in space, you have that technology. So if they came here, they're coming here to study us because we're that one unique thing that makes Earth something of interest to them. Number one. Number two, we've been beaming shit into space by way of like radio signals and TV and satellite stuff for years. They don't have to come here and deal with us directly. They can watch that directly from, they can park a satellite like near Mars and like just draw that shit in and be watching Opie reruns and freaking just being disgusted by how repetitive TV and sitcoms are. Don't even get me going on freaking game shows and shit. So those are some things to think. Are they out there? Yeah. Do they have to like, come here to... And then that's without getting into the whole abduction thing, which... why would they do that? Well, if they're curious enough they want to study us directly, there you go. That's why they're doing it. They're curious about us and they want to freaking... What science you get from butt probing somebody, I'll leave up to the listener to fathom for themselves. But, you know, maybe they do. I would laugh my ass off personally if you got to an alien and asked them why they do that. I'm like, no, you guys made that up, and frankly, we're kind of disturbed that you think that way. That would make me laugh my ass off. But as I pause to think more about alien whatnot and that kind of thing, I am going to take some photography because, damn, look at that. And we're going to take a segment break and we'll start back up in a bit. We'll be back. And we're back again. We are next to this, let me straighten that up, this lovely scumpy little pond in the middle of nowhere. And if you see the rise along there, you can tell that this was all at one point beaver-related activity. Because that's kind of what a beaver dam looks like when it gets overgrown and nature reclaims itself, basically, I guess. So we were talking about aliens, only because you got a lot of government shit going on right now pertaining to aliens, and it's hard not to see that they on some level are taking it seriously. So, do I believe in aliens? Conceptually, as we're not alone in the, absolutely. Do I think that there are UFOs out there? I have seen things up in the sky that are flying that I don't know what they are, so absolutely. Does that mean they're UFOs as in alien spaceships? No idea. And I'm not going to conjecture one way or the other, but yeah, you got to go through there. I'm not going to conjecture one way or the other. Interestingly enough, the one time we actually did see what could be taken as a UFO, it turned out to be a trainer drone, which was an Army vehicle. I think I've told this story before. I actually was able to describe it to a person I worked with that was in the Army Reserves, and she rattled off name and type. So apparently it's hardly a secret. Got some hunter tape, so apparently I'm not the first one here in this nice little meadow. There is plenty of deer sign around, so that's understandable. This kind of stuff is actually good quail habitat or grouse habitat too for the autumn. Sadly, in Vermont there is no fall grouse season, and again, I think I whined about this last week. The second that you have, I never made the video because you know what happened? The just making sure I'm recording. The video segment last time, I got to do the third segment and the thing just completely corrupted. So I'm on, so I'm wondering if my SD card for this camera is on the last legs. Hopefully, because I forgot to get a new one, hopefully not. Otherwise I'm out here talking to myself into a microphone that's doing nothing and the joke's on me. But what I was going to harp about was, it was the first week outside of turkey season in the spring, and of course, having seen nothing in the way of sign of turkey all May, you get to June, they're everywhere. I saw at least 6 or 7 of them, and that 2 or 3 that would have been easily enough shots. There goes a chipmunk. But I'm not, given their speed and the amount of meat on them, it's not worth shooting a chicken McNugget with a tail. Not even a meaty tail. Anyway, and for all the people out there going, ew, gross. Yeah, no kidding. Anyway, a couple of other things. This is more me-centric than Bigfoot-centric. Number one, I am contemplating going back to school to get a, I guess they call it a career diploma for forestry and basically forest ranger whatnot. Both as a matter of personal growth and maybe down the road a new career if that spirit moved me at some point. And the other thing, in the last couple of months, I have self-published one, and I am in the process of finishing up another. I have self-published and written a pair of science fiction novels that ironically touch upon alien abduction. The gist of the story, without giving the whole storyline, is it starts out where effectively the aliens, not being perfect any more than humans are, mess up and they take the guy basically by mistake, and then they have to figure out how to handle that. I see water where I'm going to pop out. I'm going to go over here more. So those are some things I'm dealing with. I'll post links when I have them more. I've gone through them a couple of times. There, one of them is online, but I want more. I want to go through it and make sure that it's worded the way I want, and basically exercise my perfectionist demons. And what I'm doing right now is contemplating if this is the outro. I'm going to make this a segment break instead, though, and kind of get back into the meadow over here, and we will take things from there. Basically, the way in and the way out are basically going up 5 meadows and then basically going back the same way you came to not get all turned around like I did 2 weeks ago. Where, although it's not on camera, I actually had 30 minutes of going around in circles and aggravating myself time. Basically, it was, I can't really call it being lost because every now and then I'd pop out and I could literally see the car. So you knew you're like, the car's like over there, but you're stuck over here and going the wrong way and just kicking yourself in the ass out of aggravation. Much to your embarrassment. And I ended up doing that like 3 times. Why I'm telling you, I don't know. But anyway, we're going to take a segment break. I'm going to navigate this meadow and go back where I came. And we'll do an outro at some point when we get back out there and do it from there. Anyway, we'll catch you in a bit. And we're back. And recentering, and this is going to be our outro, if I can speak. We're going to show you a little newt. If he's still there, he's hiding in the grass, actually. Never mind. He's not feeling photogenic, so we'll show you my, you know what? Hello, we're back. Second take at an outro because the outro got away from me. We're back. No signs of Squatchy, but we went through some awesome country today. At one point, we did potentially hear something over there. That's better. Over there. Could have been anything, could have been any one of a woodland creature of any kind. So anyway, like, subscribe. Leave comments as you see fit. There's a little eastern newt down there, hoping we don't notice him, but he is there. And that's going to do it for this one. We put this one in the books. Hopefully the SD card didn't crap out and I have a video for you this week. Last week it didn't go my way. And we're going to see you next time. Bye.